Aha. Good morning recording. So, any questions or reports or thoughts? No problems? Everything's perfect?
Maybe perfect.
Anything for you, Jeff?
Nothing new, but everything is perfect because it's all imperfect.
And that's perfectly where it ought to be. Okay, so because we've been really focusing quite a bit recently on these elements in the eight gate standing, I'd like to start with having each of you do your eight gate separately, and so I can really see what's going on, hopefully, as much as possible on Zoom.
Okay.
So, who would like to go first?
I'm on my feet. Jeff
Okay,
is on his feet too.
Bill will go
Up
first.
to you, Bill. Totally up to you.
He
Go
said
ahead.
he'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, for Bill's benefit, I'm going to enlarge this. So, yes, I will. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So there was no rotation in that. You moved an empty leg out into your position. Ah, significant improvement in the elbow movement, certainly, in most of the postures. Um, However, um, twisting or even just turning has gotten almost completely lost. So it is happening at the elbows, but there's nothing happening here. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you think about the twisting and the elbow, everything is twisting and everything is going in and out.
That wouldn't be whole body movement, would it?
Something like that.
Sorry.
I could see some lengthening happening, which is good, that being the hardest piece perhaps. The other thing for you to really work on is keeping the hands aligned with the sidelines of the
Still,
body.
okay.
There are only two places in this where the hands come into the center. And one is going in
Mhm.
to this posture, and the other one is in closing. Otherwise, the hands never come into the center in this particular piece.
Okay.
So those are two things to really.
Yeah, yeah, my bad, of course, but.
It's not
I've
bad.
been-
It's not
no,
bad. Take that away.
Okay. Well,
We're not bad.
I know, yeah, but I've been concentrating on the elbow and the shoulder and that, yeah.
Yeah. And
Other things get lost, so, yeah.
and that's understandable.
Yeah.
The improvement in the elbows is clearly visible, and if it's reaching into your scapula, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you need to, and you have done the twisting before.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just a matter of letting yourself reincorporate that.
yeah.
Yeah. You're not doing badly. We're
Yeah.
just refining here. One other piece is to be aware of trying to make your movements for instance, when you got to Khan water, the movement became this, and that's what's causing the hands to come in. The movement is here. You're not making a circle like this. You're making a circle like this. Okay, that'll help you keep it in the sidelines.
Okay.
And if you apply that
Throughout, yeah.
throughout,
Yeah.
here you do have that circle. It has to go this way.
Yeah.
The arms
Yeah,
can't move any other way, and bring all the elements in. And don't make this one too close to the body. Come out here, and it doesn't matter. You know, if the circles are very small, that's fine. Don't worry about making them big, because this is a position in which you can't make the circles very big and really move the energy, because as soon as you do this, I've just cut it off.
Yeah.
So it has to be pretty small. So a lot to work on.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful practice to prepare you for taking all these elements into Did you have any comments, Jeff?
No, no.
Okay.
My turn.
Why not? He got his laptop working. Would you do that opening again, Jeff? And really think about the the circularity of the rotation of the dantian to move the leg? Almost. Really, when you begin that, you're letting um, you're letting that rotation to the left and the sinking of the body move the right leg. So it all happens really with one rotation. Then you have all the rotation back to the right to bring you into center. Better. So that was good. It's interesting. Um, your issues are not quite the same as Bill's. Um, um, the one that I think generally that you need to work on is bending and extending. You're doing that
Yeah.
with the elbows and the shoulders, but the hands are fixed in one position. They
Mm,
don't, the hands need to be involved here too in order to move the energy through the wrist and the hands out and out of the fingertips
okay. Yeah.
and in.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm at the point where I'm just focusing so much here that I'm not even really thinking about what my hands are doing, other than that they're rotating.
Yeah. So
So,
you were getting the twisting in pretty much all the way through. Um, Important to make sure that you round every corner.
mm,
Um, you've heard me say this before. Master Joe loved to shout at us, "Round your corners!" Um,
yeah.
and that is important because when the corner is not rounded, the energy is interrupted. It's not stopped,
Right.
but it is interrupted.
Mm.
And so
Yeah. You
that's,
you have actually you've mentioned that to me several times in recent weeks, and it's going to be a long-term focus for
yeah,
me for
yeah.
sure.
So one of the things I wanted to mention was after you've done Qian, heaven, and this may
Yeah.
be for you too, Bill, I'm not sure. So you're here. So the transition down to earth is to come in, go up, and come in and out, uh, down. So it's a little bit at first. It's a little bit of an awkward transition because you're used to just coming in and going down, but that creates a corner.
Mm,
So in order not to have that corner, you have to have that little circle up and in and down to Qian.
mm, okay.
Um, and you have some tendency also in the some of the transitions to let your hands come into the center. So continuing to be aware that this is a particular practice where our focus is on the left and right channels, not the center channel.
Okay.
Um, you
Okay.
want to add anything in there? No. So there are things to work on.
Oh yeah. Lots.
Do you have any questions, either one of you?
No.
Okay, okay. So, I love to have improved eyesight. So, going to the form, um, all of these principles, of course, we would hopefully bring into the form. Um, I guess we've been pretty much focusing on lengthening recently. Um,
Mm.
so, do you have any questions about that? You, you know, it's so counterintuitive to us as really, I think, as Westerners. Our tendency is um, to to make it happen instead of allowing it to happen. And so discovering the power in that is really, really an important step. Yes. Did that raise a question?
No, I mean, I start going through the movements, and it's my sense of creating power it doesn't come enough. It's the completion of a position rather
Yeah.
than a
Yeah.
flow of energy.
Well, that's a stage you have to go through in practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're having to think about what comes next
Well, yeah.
or where you're going,
Yeah.
then it's really hard to focus on the internal elements.
Yeah.
Um, so keep practicing, and it will come. um, unfortunately, I didn't get to last week's video, so I'm not sure how far we went. Do you remember, either one of you?
I think it was right before Wade Hands, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds about right.
I think we got up to, what is it? Not Goose.
No, down and
When we
under.
turn around,
Down and under.
yeah, yeah. I think it was just before Wave Hands that we got to, where we turned
Okay.
around and we got ready to go into Wave Hands.
So why don't we try? How are you doing with your head?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. The head is okay at this point. The body is a little
Yeah.
funny. It's very difficult to explain.
Okay.
It's just,
You don't have to.
yeah.
Do you feel like doing
Yeah.
before? Okay. All right. Let's do what we did before, and we'll have Bill go up to that point.
Okay.
Okay.
Thought I could get rid of that, but I couldn't. Sorry.
I'm going to start over.
Yeah. That's fine.
That was pretty poor.
Actually, not bad. Um, One of the things I would say is that one of the elements of rounding your corners is not letting a pause develop between postures.
As in here.
Yes. Well, that's one.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Um, in the beginning, um, there, it kind of feels like you get rushed at the beginning of the
Okay.
form. So if you can allow yourself to have the time, if I turn my foot right would be better, have the time to go into this and then into this, but without a pause in between them. So what it seemed to me was that you got to hear there was all the focus was on the feet, and all of a sudden the arms came up, and then here it was rushed and it wasn't clear. And this is a very difficult sequence. I'm not taking that away at all. The other thing there is that when you go forward, keep the weight forward, don't go backwards. So in other words, you get to G, you go onto that left foot, and then you go back, and then you go into.
Okay.
So if you think of this martially, once you started that backward movement, your opponent would be on you. You'd be done. So the intention is that when you get to here, that this establishes a route so that you can do this. So if you go back, you've defeated your intention there. Just one other place. When you get to here, everything should be bent and twisted in so that you can extend and twist out. Your hands are just coming down frozen.
Still doing that, okay.
Yeah. So you need to think of, you're catching this guy's arm and you're just taking him right through.
Okay, well, you know, not an excuse, but, you know, I worked on not doing this.
Ah.
but-
Well, that's
but
good.
doing that.
Yeah,
Then
okay.
I lost the.
Well, you got that, so that's good. Now, let your hands and arms come back into it.
Yeah, okay.
That's enough to think about there. Do you have anything you would add there, Jeff?
I'm gonna run upstairs.
Okay.
David?
Yeah.
I'm gonna run upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah. Um, don't let your weight shift too far forward on pung. Um,
Okay.
uh, that you're actually letting yourself go to the point where your knee is too far forward. I can see that
Okay.
there. Um,
Yeah.
and still, what I would say is keep working on not letting your arms extend,
Mm.
but lengthen. And that it feels like, what on earth is he saying? Those, you know, those
Yeah, no,
words.
I understand, and I actually, when you said that, I realized I was definitely doing that on grasping Sparrow's tail.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
realized that when you said that.
um, ultimately you should feel, and you aren't necessarily going to feel this right away, but ultimately you want to feel all of those movements of the arms coming actually coming out of the back.
Mm.
It's everything working together that allows you to do that. So
Right.
when I talk about an element, um, and I should let me change my camera here. So I'm trying to do this and stay close here, so you can see. Um,
Yep.
you want these movements to come from the back and be um, and not be movements that originate here out in front.
Right.
You can have your elbows circling and have a feeling of your scapula moving and still have the focus on your hands. So it's making that connection and allowing it to create everything happening together. And then it doesn't have to be so big. I mean, um, that's one of the things for you to work on, Jeff, is to um, discover doing the movements more smallly. I don't think that's a word. Smaller.
Right. Uh,
um, I think I've mentioned this before, but Master Joe often talked about um, when you practice, to practice going as fast as you can and not losing any detail, and then going as slowly as you can and not losing any detail. That there are benefits in at both of the extremes. You may practice somewhere in the middle most of the time, but exploring those extremes sometimes can help you learn even more about what you're doing.
right.
So it's a good, it's certainly a good suggestion on his part.
Mm. Yeah.
um, any any question for either one of you at this moment?
No,
No.
no, I remember you were saying that,
Hmm.
reporting that from Mr. Joe, but I almost never try to go fast.
Mm.
That's an interesting.
Well, um, this is of course a very relative term.
Yeah, yeah,
Fast may be somebody else's middle range,
yeah.
you know. So
And I know I've been cautioned to slow it down, so,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, certainly I found that slowing it down helped me understand what I was trying to do um, more than going quickly,
yeah.
but they both have their benefits. um, going quickly sometimes points out where you don't know what you're doing. You're just going quickly to get through it.
Mm.
So, so let's look at wave hands. um, so why don't you let's start this so you get a chance to get into it. Start at follow and focus in the corner, to the right front corner, and then
Can't remember where my feet are.
they, they're in a bow stance to the corner. Yeah. So the twisting of the movement is causing the rotation of the ball. So if the ball gets frozen somewhere, anywhere, then you've lost the whole body movement. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm. I'm trying to rethink. Yeah, the look is not confusion about what you said, but yeah, trying to remember.
So when you get to here,
Mhm.
then this is twisting in, and now it's twisting out, and now it's twisting back in, and it keeps twisting in until it starts twisting out and twisting in. So that has to be continuous.
Yep.
And that's one of the tricky parts, certainly, of this particular movement.
So I was, you know, I recall physically just moving my arms, basically.
Yeah.
So.
And just as it ideally is doing in other postures, um, the scapula are going in and the scapula are going out and the scapula are coming in. And so what you see here is that the elbow actually is making a circular movement as you do this. Yep.
Yep.
Nothing to it. Did you have any other questions there? I didn't mean to.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um, I think, Jeff, the main thing I would say is just as in the eight gates, that it feels like your
Mhm.
hands get frozen and
Uh,
and they're not
yeah,
they're
yeah,
they're not doing anything except they are turning the ball, no question, but there's no
yeah,
sense of bending and extending of the hands.
yeah, yeah.
So
I don't think I'm doing much of that at all in the form at this, I'm not,
yeah, so that's a
I'm not making an effort to do that, think about that. So yeah, you're right.
yeah, because that's how the energy gets out there. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, one of the elements of it. I mean, certainly the twisting is important
right.
if it's all connected and the energy is moving freely back to the spine, but the bending and extending is part of that,
Mm,
as is the lengthening, not the doing, but the release into the lengthening.
right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
um, so I know it's a little early, but I think I'm going to stop.
Understood.
I'm doing pretty well, but I am really
Good.
trying to be very careful about what
Yeah.
I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is so do you have any questions at all, however, up to that point there?
Yeah. Plenty to work on.
I was going to say between the eight gates and this,
Yeah.
um, there is plenty to work on.
Yeah. No, a lot of I know you gave us both a lot of good feedback and things to be aware of. Not just in one posture too,
Yeah,
but throughout. So
yeah,
that's what I want to try and continue to integrate.
yeah. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much,
Thank you.
and have a good week.
Yep.
All right. You too. Take
Yep.
care, Bill. I hope you're
Yep.
doing well.
See you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Okay. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I probably will have to duck out about